Hey guys, Zantetsu here, and I'm here to do my weekly manga and comic book review. So let's get started. This is the first book that I'll be looking at today, and that is Batman by Ed Browbaker. Now, this is the beginning of a run known as No Man's Land, or Batman No Man's Land, where a series of unfortunate events happen to Batman and Bruce Wayne, and they're forced to, well, he's forced to do some things which he would not necessarily do. So at the beginning of this series, his former girlfriend, um, who is an actress, or no, not an actress. She's a reporter by the name of Vesper Fairchild. She is killed at the beginning of this comic book, and Bruce Wayne is framed for the murder. So obviously, Bruce Wayne is framed for the murder, but he wants to still be Batman. He wants to still keep crime at bay. Um, and he wants nothing to do with the murder case in general. So he tries to do a buyout, or he tries to leave by bailing himself out, but that doesn't work. So in the end of the day, he has to like force an escape. It's a very dark comic because it really explores the relationship between Batman and Bruce, and how Bruce Wayne is more of a mask and Batman is the actual person rather than the other way around. See, it's really interesting because, for example, a lot of characters you can say like Spider-Man becomes Spider-Man when he puts the mask on, but Batman, he really just he's always Batman. Like he always is Batman. Like Bruce Wayne is a mask to him, just like for Superman, Clark Kent is a mask for him, right? When he puts on the glasses, and that's explored really in depth here. And what I think Ed Browbaker did really well is he just shows us like how tortured Bruce is and how just how this kind of scenario would really affect him. Like he's in prison here, and like as you can see, he looks really pissed off. I ain't a happy Bruce Wayne. And I really like the art style inside of these books because these are like late '90s, early 2000s DC books. This art style is like halfway between the super modern look of today and the more cartoonish look of yesterday. It's pretty interesting. Like, look at the detail on his eyes. That's really cool. This guy. It's very like the way he draws Batman's face is very muscular. I guess it's pretty interesting. Like you can see right here, you can see the veins in Bruce's neck. So yeah, it's really interesting. Near the end of the comic, of course, Bruce Wayne's proteges, Robin, Nightwing, they come to challenge him. They come to ask him, like, Bruce, what are you doing, right? Like, they all come to, like, see what he's doing, essentially. But, well, he's really wants to distance himself from his life because, this incident, it really changes him because he's like, no more Bruce Wayne. I'm just Batman. So all day, what he wants to do is just hunt down criminals. That's it, and just pretend that Bruce Wayne escaped and got away somewhere. It's really dark. It's really gripping, and I really enjoy this style of storytelling because it uses the dialogue to full effect while still making it not sound cheap or corny. Because a lot of comics, what they do is they have just too much dialogue, and a lot of it is just exposition. But this, it's like you really understand Batman. You really understand what's going inside his head, why he does certain things, why he leaves behind his civilian persona. It's a very good comic. Now, the weirdest thing though is in the middle of the comic, they have like the old Adam West, like 1950s, 1960s Batman, and they go back in time. Batman and Robin go back in time in order to stop slavery. Only in the 1960s, guys. Only in the 1960s can you have that kind of story. But it's cheesy, but it's interesting, right? They go back in time to find this superhero called the Black Mask, but they end up kind of creating the superhero, which creates a time paradox because how would he have existed in their world? But they don't really follow that too well. I like this old style as well because Like if you see right here, like whenever the character talks, they have a very specific line of text beside them, and the head is always there, which shows that's the character that's specifically talking, right? So that's really interesting. Um, yeah, this campy style originated from the old Flash Gordon cartoons and serials of the past. So that's to stay over from there. And then you have the stark like contrast between like the super edgy style of the '90s, right? So Batman's been through a lot of different changes. A lot of different artists, different writers have contributed to him. So he's very, very interesting, an interesting character. And yeah, so that's Batman essentially, and that is Ed Brubaker, his Batman run. Next, I'm going to discuss one of my favorite manga that I was reading for a long time, but I couldn't find a volume of it in the library near me, and that is Mobile Suit Gundam: The Origin. This is a detailing of essentially the first Gundam series, but serialized in a manga format, and they have these really nice hardcover volumes with interesting and very complex art, as you can see in the back here. And Mobile Suit Gundam, for those people who don't know, is kind of like a futuristic war epic in which these two factions, the faction who is on Earth and the faction who calls himself the Empire of Zeon, are fighting in between each other. And in between, these space colonists have gotten stuck and need to escape, essentially. So it follows this young boy called Amuro and his family and friends because they get stuck in this conflict when the Principality of Zeon just attacks one of their colonies, and that's the colony where Amuro is living. He has to escape, and he has to pilot a Gundam, which is, let me see if I can find the Gundam here. Where's the Gundam? I think that should be it. That's right there. That's the Gundam Mark One, and these guys right here are Zaku's, which are like Xeon standard issue mobile suits, right? So Mobile Suit Gundam is it was released in the 1970s, but it's a very influential anime. It's influenced many of the mecha anime and manga you see today, like Gurren Lagann, Evangelion, and of course most recently Darling in the Franxx. They've all been influenced some way, shape, or form by Gundam, which was pretty much the first one to ever do it. Because Gundam, what it did was it took a realistic approach to war, and you really got to see how these kids had to grow up really, really fast in war times and commit things and kill people and do things that no kid would ever actually do in like a normal, peaceful civilization. So Gundam is just a really interesting series, and it really showcases what anime and manga are capable of, because it uses a lot of interesting still frames and imagery in order to evoke a sense of wonder, and yet a sense of like despair and longing that you can't really explain unless you like read or watch the series. But it's a very, very interesting series. Like you see here, like how they colored this page. Very nice use of purple, orange, and red, showing a sunset in the desert, like those cactuses in the background. I really like this kind of art. And there's a lot of really good like art here, a lot of really good frames, just like of people not even talking, of people just doing interesting things. He's like these are some soldiers gathering for the Principality of Zeon, right, which is the Empire. They're just gathering for a march and a salute, and it's really interesting to see. Like Gundam is probably one of the best examples of when they use dialogue kind of shortly, and they use the imagery in order to tell a story. So that's one of the reasons why I like Gundam a lot. The only flaw is with Gundam, it's a bit old, so it's a bit campy. It's a bit outdated in many of the references they make. Like, well, not references. Many of the tactics they use in warfare in the Gundam series are not tactics which they use in modern mecha suits because I mean obviously the genre has evolved a lot, so people don't use swords and axes, but there's guns and other things. and I feel like these were meant to be more like knight suits of armor rather than tactical assault vehicles, because that's kind of how they're wielded. But at the same time, there's a lot of nostalgia attached to it, a lot of prestige attached to it. It's one of the first series to ever do it. It is the first series to ever do it, pretty much. And nobody has really done it quite like Gundam in the years to come, until maybe Evangelion was pretty good, but the ending to Evangelion obviously was not the best. So if you really want a really interesting mecha and you're into mechas, or if you want to know more about the mecha genre, I definitely recommend Gundam because it is one of the better mechas out there. Alright guys, well that is it for this week. Hope you enjoyed these reviews, and please tell me know anything I should read in the future. Um, Please give a comment below and a like if you enjoyed the video, and yeah, see you next week.